Hey everybody, hi, it's Britt. Happy Monday. I'm doing a live video right now. Very spontaneous because I had a few minutes before I take my daughter to gymnastics. So I thought, oh my gosh, I have to do a video to catch up. We are in the Kingdom books. I know some of you are, some of you aren't, so don't worry about it. I don't know where you are, but that's okay. So I've just wanted to start doing the Kingdom books, and we're going to do our first review over Joshua, which I love Joshua. So happy Monday. I hope you guys had a great weekend. I am sporting my red buffalo check flannel, which I hope is still in style, but what do I know about style? So I'm just wearing it because it's cozy and comfortable, and that's all that I know. So I hope you guys had an awesome weekend. I have my Joshua review outline ready to go. I think I already uploaded that under files for you guys to have and to grab and to look at yourselves. I've got my binder here. I've got my cliff notes here, and we're gonna go ahead and get started. So I've got just a little bit, and so we're gonna do this. Okay, miss you guys. Feel free to comment below and say hi. I love interaction. You know, this is not a Brittany show for sure. I love to hear your comments, and I love to see emojis. Emojis are one of my favorite things. I have a 9-year-old daughter, and she is all about the emoji. So give me an emoji. Tell me you're here, because that would make my heart smile. All right, guys, so here we are. Let's pick up in Joshua. Welcome to the Kingdom books. Love Joshua. This is the land conquered is the theme. Conquering and settling the promised land. That is what Joshua is all about. Okay, so details please. Let's review. So Moses is dead. The entire generation of the disobedient Israelites have died. And now God has summoned Joshua to take the lead into the promised land, into Canaan. Okay, so that's where we pick up. And their first major obstacle is Jericho, right? So here they are, the spies. The Israelite spies, they come across as they're entering the promised land, they come across a prostitute, Rahab, right? So Rahab helps the Israelite spies and earns protection from the destruction of the entire city of Jericho being taken down. So God knocks its walls flat as Joshua's army marches outside, blowing trumpets and shouting. Joshua leads a successful military campaign to clear all the idol-worshiping people, the Hittites, the Amorites, the Canaanites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, the Jebusites, the Cellulites. Just kidding. There was no Cellulites, except for right here. Sorry, had to add that. From the land. At one point, God answers Joshua's prayer by making the sun stand still and allowing more time to complete the battle. How cool is that? The major cities were subdued. Joshua divides the land among the 12 tribes of Israel, reminding the people to stay true to God, who led them home. And it says, now therefore put away the strange gods which are among you and incline your heart into the Lord God of Israel. So that was the details of the cliff notes. Let's see. It says Joshua was one of the few major Bible characters who seemed to do everything right. He was a very strong leader, completed and committed to God, who never fell into recorded sin or disobedience like it seemed like everyone else did. Only one mistake was on his record, Joshua's experience with the Gibeonites, one of the local groups he should have destroyed. Fearing for their lives, they appeared before Joshua dressed in old clothes, carrying dry, moldy bread, claiming they had come from faraway land. Joshua and the Israelite leaders asked not counsel at the mouth of the Lord and agreed to the peace treaty. When Joshua learned the truth, he honored his agreement with... Sorry about that. Okay, so this is the land conquered, right? Here we are. We are... gonna do our Joshua review. So the theme is land conquered. Who is the main character? Joshua. What happened? The conquering and settling of the promised land, and it covers 25 years, 7 years in battle, and about 18 years dividing the land among the 12 tribes. And where did this happen? Almost the entire book took place in Canaan. And why? The Israelites conquered and settled the land God had promised Abraham and the descendants. And this is all in the Joshua review, PowerPoint review. Sorry, I have a glare on my glasses. It's kind of annoying. So Israelites did not take the land. God gave them the land. That's important to remember. The land was already theirs, which I love that. The land was their inheritance. It was already given to them. They just had to take it. They lived out of their inheritance and not their circumstance. This is on the PowerPoint notes that I'm going to give you guys if I haven't already. And this is another interesting point that I thought was cool. Inheritance is mentioned about 60 times in the book of Joshua. That's amazing. Inheritance. Inheritance, inheritance. I love that. Okay, so let's go straight into the homework or the workbook, okay? So on day 1, let's see here. Day one. And keep in mind, guys, I'm a little rusty because I'm, again, in my Bible study, and we are currently in 1 Samuel. So I have done Joshua a couple weeks ago, and so I'm kind of rusty. But it's okay, because we're all in this together, right? Hey, Karen. Thanks for joining me. I hope you're doing well today. We're on day 1 of Joshua. Okay, so here we are. Joshua, land conquered. Where are we? La, 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 la. 700 years. Okay, so if you guys read on page 32, it has a cool, the big picture part of it. 700 years have elapsed since God first promised the land. 7 centuries. 3 times longer than America has been a nation. I thought that was really interesting. And God seldom acts in a hurry. You know how we always want everything like super quick. It's like waiting for Amazon Prime seems like it takes forever. But like back in these days, 700 years. I mean, that's 3 times longer than how old America is. And that's how long that this took. It was just a really long time. So between Abraham and Joshua, generations have come and gone, all of them learning about the land, hoping for the land, dreaming about the land, and dying without the land. By now it's time for the promise to be fulfilled, and Joshua is God's chosen leader. Moses has been God's man to lead his people out of Egypt, and Joshua is the main man to lead the people into the promised land, Canaan. I love this on the side. You know, all the side quotes are always amazing to me, but I had wrote on the side, Joshua didn't fight for victory, he fought from victory, which is always something I've heard before, and I think that's amazing because, again, God had already given them the land. They just had to conquer it, right? It was their inheritance, which is so amazing to think. That's how God is with us. Like, he's already given us, you know, victory. He's already given us the land, the promised land, so to speak. It's just our job to follow him and to be obedient and take it, right? So Joshua was a very important leader. You know, he seemed to not do anything wrong. He was very brave and courageous. He did what God asked him to do. And I just thought that Joshua was just, I have always really liked the Bible character Joshua. He's just really a very standout character in the Bible. It says Joshua is the book to help you know that you are not in the wilderness alone. I also have down here, let's see. Well, let me turn the page real quick. Let's just go to day 2. We're moving right along. So again, the major theme is inheritance. In the book, it's mentioned 60 times. It says, what did I write here? I have so much, you guys. Be patient with me. There's just so much to go over. I'm like trying to pick like what to even talk about. I wrote that Joshua did not live out of circumstance. He lived out of his inheritance, which again is a really profound thing to think about. The promised land people lived out of inheritance. They were children of God, right? So they weren't worried about the circumstances and the challenges that surrounded them. They were just living out of their inheritance that was given to them. And that's how we should all live, because we're all co-heirs of God, right? We're all children of God. And that's a gift that that is a gift as children of God that we have. And so to walk in that is something that he wants for us. Moving on, let's see here. If anyone has anything that stood out to them in day 2, I believe we're still in. Let's see. So the question is just on page 36. What did God tell Joshua to do? Go over the Jordan with the Israelites into the promised land, and give the land that he promised them. To meditate on his word and to be strong and courageous, to don't be afraid, and because he is with him wherever he goes. Be strong and courageous, be strong and courageous. He says that multiple times. Jericho is a very symbolic of a lot of kind of strongholds I think that we all have. I mean, your Jericho might be your fear. Your Jericho might be something that, an addiction. Your Jericho can be all kinds of things. You know, it could be anything, or even an attitude that keeps you from entering your promised land. So it's a stronghold. It could be a lie. It could be a belief that you wake up to every day that keeps you from walking in your promised land or taking your promised land. It could be negative self-talk. You know, that could be your Jericho. And I just love it in Joshua, just the picture of them walking around and declaring and shouting and blowing their trumpets in declaration that, you know, that God is present, and He wins our battles for us, right? And so I just love that. So we have to recognize our Jerichos. We have to, and just stop them in their tracks. And I love on page 37, it says, courage is a special kind of knowledge, the knowledge of how to fear what ought to be feared and how to not fear what ought to not be feared. That's by David Ben-Gurion. You know, I think this whole thing about fear, have no fear, be fearless, all those things are great. And I think that's awesome to say and to declare of yourself, and there's truth in that. But it's really hard not to have fear, right? It's really hard not to be scared of something. Something in your life that just, you know, it's just hard to have fear. Like, I have fear of snakes. And I don't care how many times you tell me, you know, have no fear and to not worry about, you know, snakes accidentally popping up in my cupboards or pantries or whatever, because I will freak out on you. Like, I will lose my mind if I see a snake, or if I accidentally stumble upon something in my, oh my gosh. Like, I have fear, like real legit fear of snakes. I have fear of falling down my stairs carrying a kid. Like, that's real fear. So, I mean, it's hard to really like completely get rid of fear. I love the idea of it. And I believe that a lot of fear can be removed from your life. I feel like the really and truly, it's not about the absence of fear. It's the presence of courage, right? That's the game changer. Courage is a special kind of knowledge, it says. The knowledge of how to fear what ought to be feared and how not to fear what ought not to be feared. So yes, I think to be fearless is to have courage, is to substitute your fear with courage and to face it sometimes. And Joshua faced his fears and God was with him. God said multiple times over and over, have no fear, right? I am with you. You might be scared, and that's okay, but I'm with you, right? I'm with you in the midst of your fear. And that's, to me, that's what's amazing. So I love that, love that, love that. So whatever stronghold that you're dealing with, whether it's fear, anxiety, negative self-talk, spiritual warfare, find the root of it and ask God to give you courage and believe that He is right there with you in it. I feel like that is a good word for you today. The battle's already won, right? Battle's already won. He has already fought our battles. Our job is to trust and to know that He is right there with us. All right, page 38. The measure of a man's real character is what he would do if he knew that he would never be found out. I tell that to my kids all the time. The definition of integrity is what you do when no one's looking, right? Integrity. That's page 38. Love that quote. We're on, by the way, we're on day 3 of Joshua. Hi, everybody who's watching. Okay. So, moving on. Love this. Side note on page 39. Did you know it says that Rahab the harlot is in the genealogy of Christ? Rahab the harlot. Rahab the prostitute is the great grandmother, great to the 100th power grandmother of Jesus. How cool is that? And she was a prostitute, which makes me believe and know that God can use anyone. God can use anyone, no matter your trade, your skill level, your title. That's amazing. That's amazing. Okay, let's move on. Not a lot of time today. Let's see. Okay. Let's see here. You guys, day 4. Does anyone have anything to say on day 3? Just wrapping that up. Day 4, a notable feature. Love these little quotes. Age is an issue of the mind over matter. If you don't mind, it doesn't matter. That's by Mark Twain. Love that. By Margaret Delan. As soon as you feel too old to do a thing, do it. Love that. Do not deprive me of my age. I've earned it. That's funny. It's not how old you are, but how you are old. That's interesting. And then the last one, the great thing about getting older is you don't lose all the other ages that you've been. That's funny too. Madeline, I like that one. That one's good. Okay. Let's see. I wrote down just a random side note. Satan cannot hear your thoughts, but he can hear your words. So be careful with what you say and what you declare over yourself out loud, right? Refute it, rebuke it, take it, declare instead the truth of who you are. Blast the ram's horn is basically the gist of that. Kind of like when they walked around Jericho 7 times blasting their ram's horns. And I should be looking at my Bible with the other notes I wrote. But that's a very cool thing to visualize. Like, that's the power of when you speak out loud, when you make a declaration like what they did. When you're blasting your ram's horn and you're speaking truth of yourself, the devil has no chance. He has to leave. So I really, really love that. Okay, so page 42. Let's see, some of the questions. How did Caleb describe the 12 spies incident as he looked back on it from the perspective of an 85-year-old man? So again, let me say that again. How did Caleb describe the 12 spies incident as he looked back on it from a perspective of an 85-year-old man? He saw the big picture. He had spiritual eyes. I wrote he was still strong. He had a positive spirit, still remained. Him and Joshua were the only 2 positive dudes out of all the spies. So he was faithful. He was positive. He was diligent. He was, even at 85, still full of life, is what I put on that. Okay, let's move on. Let's see. Day 5. It says the book of Joshua on the left side, under inside, it says the book of Joshua records very few failures on the part of Israel or the leaders. A timeless principle. You could read that. That's I had that highlighted. That was good. Let's see. Oh boy, just so much to go over. It's okay though. This is all good stuff. I'm gonna stop with that. I really honestly don't have much else to say about day 5. You guys have anything else that you want to add? Let's do a Joshua multiple choice review. All right, who was Joshua the son of? Joshua was the son of Nun. Okay, after the death of Moses, God commanded Joshua to do what? Be strong and courageous, right? Okay, number 3. What was Rahab's occupation prior to joining with Joshua and the Israelites? Her occupation was a harlot and innkeeper. Where did Rahab hide the spies? In piles of dirty laundry? No. Underneath the bed? No. Under stalks of flax on the roof? Or in a well? The answer is C, under stalks of flax on the roof. What did Rahab do to signal where her house was? I think you guys remember this. She hung a scarlet cord in her window or out her window. What did Joshua do after the Israelites crossed over the Jordan? He set up, remember this guys? He set up 12 stones as a memorial at Gilgal to the people of Israel. How many times total did the army circle around the city of Jericho before the walls fell down? Do you guys remember this? Was it 7, 12, 13, or 14? The answer total is 13. And that, yeah. Okay, question 8. Which Israelite acted unfaithfully regarding the devoted things, violating God's covenant? Do you guys remember this? Was it Ai? Was it Achan? Was it Caleb? Or was it Adonai Zedek? It was Achan. Remember that? He looted some of the silver from the camp and violated God's covenant. Question 9. How long did the sun stand still for Joshua? This is in Joshua 10, verse 13. 2 hours, 30 minutes, about half a day, or a full day? The answer is D, a full day. Okay, question 10. How many kings were defeated by Moses and the Israelites on the east side of the Jordan? The answer is 2, and that was in Joshua 12. Did I say Moses? Defeated by Moses? Yeah, I have to double check on that. Sorry. Question 11. How many kings were defeated by Joshua and the Israelites on the west side of the Jordan? Oh, that's right. So on the east side, Moses and the Israelites defeated 2 kings. And on the west side, Joshua and the Israelites defeated 31 kings. That's in Joshua 12. Okay, guys? All right, moving on. A few more questions. The Israelites spent how many years in the battle in the Promised Land? 7 years in battle with the Promised Land. 7. And the Israelites spent how many years dividing the land they conquered? 18. 18 years the Israelites spent in the years dividing the land they conquered. Question 14. Which 3 burials happened at the end of Joshua? Moses, Aaron, and Adam? B. Joshua, Joseph's bones, and Eleazar? Remember, Eleazar was Aaron's son and also the priest that stood with Moses during Joshua's commission. C. Caleb, Joshua, and Aaron. Or D. Aaron, Joseph's bones, and Moses. Okay, so the answer is B. Answer is Joshua, Joseph's bones, and Eleazar. Those were the 3 burials that happened at the end of Joshua. Okay. And that's in chapter 24, verse 29. Okay, so let's see. That's pretty much all for Joshua today, guys. Like I said, I did upload a file under Joshua for you guys to look. It's an outline. And it really goes into detail, kind of a good outline as to what happened. I'm sorry about my rustiness. It's been a while since I've read Joshua, and that's okay. Like, I'm only human, right? But some of the details I need to go back and review. And then that's why we do these reviews, right? This is why we literally do these reviews, because they just help when you talk about it and you share and you speak it out. It just seals that info into your heart. Okay, guys. Do you guys like my new binder? I had to go to Staples and get a new binder because my other one fell apart. Like literally, it was so thick, it fell apart. So I got a new one. I thought it was appropriate to put this here because it matches my coffee mug. Keep calm and read your Bible. All right, guys, have a beautiful day, friends. I love you. I hope this blesses you today, and I'll be back with a Judges review and a Ruth review. Okay, bye.